marhaba, good morning, bonjour, and ni hao. We are live again. It's the 28th episode of the Global Expat Podcast, and we have a very interesting topic today. I think it's one of the topics that have been done over and over again. First of all, I would like to welcome Andrew. Um, Thank you again,
Thanks,
Andrew,
Mo.
for
Welcome.
joining again. You would like to give us about the topic that we're discussing today? It's a very interesting topic.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hi everyone. My name is Andrew Williams. I am the CEO and the founder of Remote Tribe, which is a digital nomad blog and the online community for digital nomad and remote workers. And we cover a lot of topics about remote working in general, and we have some really interesting news this week, which is about a lot of Britons leaving the UK, unfortunately, and or fortunately for them, but unfortunately for the UK, and just moving to other countries. So the topic of today is why are Britons leaving the UK and where do they go? And Mo, you are the perfect person to talk to because you help people relocate and become more tax efficient. So tell us a bit more about you, and also then after that, let's jump into the subject. There are two pieces of news actually this podcast is based on, so we're going to discuss them shortly.
Definitely, definitely. Thanks so much, Andrew. As always, my name is Mohamed Aboshanab. You can always call me Mo. I'm an international lawyer, global tax expert, and I'm hosting the Global Expat Podcast. This is the 28th episode. Almost, Andrew, have joined almost 10 or 15. We have done a lot of things together in
At least
different
then I would
topics.
say, yeah, yeah.
But one of the things I would like to say that we are both British. Me and Andrew is British. We are not. We was not born in the UK, so we are a kind of immigrants. But we have a very interesting experience dealing with ourselves and our families and our friends and family. What the UK have been changed during the last 20 and then 10 years and then the last 5 years. I mean, I've been advising many of my clients, high net worth individuals who are originally British or they acquire British citizenship through different ways, that if they have the option to build another base in another country, it doesn't have to be 100% relocation. It, you should do it. But now, especially during the last 12 to 24 months, I mean, you see a lot of videos in YouTube and other platform that
On
they say,
TikTok, on YouTube
yes,
about Britons explaining
yeah.
how good it is outside Britain, basically.
I mean, one of the things that people doesn't understand that always British citizens and the expats, the British expats, would love to travel. Before the Brexit, I mean, there's millions of British expats used to live in Spain, in Portugal, in Malta, in Cyprus. They're still going there. I mean, we will not say they stop going, but they spend some of them spend 9 months, especially pensioners, now the digital nomads, remote workers. So we see a new generation of British expats who would like to explore options in other countries. I mean, the only thing that happened with the misconception of misinformation about why people would like to leave the UK. It's not just about the weather or the taxes or the food I mean, one of the highest nationalities that travel abroad is British citizens. Anyone living in the UK, because of many factors. I mean, UK has, I mean, London itself just have 5 to 6 airports. So if you have one city that have 5 major airports, that means the destination you can go from London to almost anywhere in the world.
I
I
believe
mean,
London is the best connected airport in the world. I just saw
that's
top,
right.
and I think
That's right. So
Milan was number five, and then Bangkok was number 10. Pretty good though.
Yeah, in Asia, that's right. So people travel. I mean, the focus now, they say UK is finished, it's end. No, no, UK will never end. It's like an opportunities. When the Brexit happened, there is a lot of doors was closed, and then many other doors was open. So our topic today is very simple: why British citizen, or doesn't have to be citizen, people living in the UK would like to leave, and where they're going. And I mean, the first reason they would like to leave because many of them are working remotely. I mean, Andrew is the best one you can ask about in digital nomads. He's an expert in this. And now there is, you can say, the flexibility for anyone to work remotely, even if you have an office job. Some, I mean, I know there's a
Especially, I
lot
would
of.
say, if you have an office job, yeah.
Yes. So if you live in London and Manchester, in a large city in the UK, and you're commuting 5 days a week, and they give you the opportunity to work 1 to 3 months outside the UK, you'll start seeing other options.
So Mo, let me give you some trends that we see now in the UK when it comes to remote working. So I see that a lot of I mean, still some companies offer the remote option. A lot of them are working hybrid. However, I see more and more companies calling people just once a month. So there's a compromise between once a week to once a month now, and that's actually key because you can actually fly into London once a month or twice a month, even I think even from Asia you can fly it. So you've got direct flights from Bangkok to London, you've got direct flights from Qatar, you've got direct flights anywhere from Europe. So I think this is actually a really nice perk that's going on right now. So I think a lot of companies will keep offering that, and I think what's going to change is that high performing employees or people that can actually prove they can bring value, they will get that monthly, only the one time a month in the office. Also, some other companies, another perk that I've seen coming through is that a lot of companies now in the UK allow you to work somewhere between a month and 3 months within a year abroad. So that's a really nice taster introduction to the remote working lifestyle that Britons can do, and probably that's contributing as well to the temporary exode or permanent exode that's is going on right now. So just to jump into the topic itself, Mo, there was a really interesting article about a week ago saying that the digital nomads are costing the UK economy about £3 billion a year. That's absolutely massive, and that's actually from lost VAT, and it's also
That's
from
only
obviously
VAT.
that's
So
only
that's only just VAT.
yeah, it's unbelievable. It's mostly VAT and obviously other taxes that people pay. Either it's the council tax or the going out or transport, or so. There's like a really big knock-on effect on the economy itself, and basically it is what it is because prices are going really really high in the UK, and
Yes.
inflation is still going up from what I've read. Transport is projected to go up again, and also electricity bills are projected to go up again. So seems like people are taking advantage of this geo arbitrage because companies are allowing them to travel a bit abroad, and they can bring their costs down, or they can literally live in another country and just come back for meetings, which is pretty crazy.
Yes,
But
that's right. That's right. I mean, uh, I mean, now I would like to go in some in-depth details about especially the VTA side.
yeah,
I mean, if we are advising now the British government for the expats and remote workers, it's, I mean, the VT the VAT threshold is 85 thousand sterling pounds. If you are doing any business, whatever you are, a remote worker, independent, a solo entrepreneur,
freelancer,
having
limited
company,
company,
whatever,
yeah.
that's the threshold. If you are making your annual income less than 80k, 85k per year at the sterling pound, which is around 100k USD ish, something like this, you will be able not to pay VAT. What's happening right now, there's a lot of people have the tools and knowledge that they don't have to register a UK company or even go through the VAT threshold. Many experienced individuals go for the US, for Dubai, for Paraguay, for Singapore, which have almost no VAT. The VAT in Dubai is just 5%, and you have to starting from 35 35k, 35,000k dirhams, which around the same 100k USD. But the only thing is that the people now have the knowledge that they don't have to pay VAT. It's legal. But my advice for the British government, especially on the tax, I'm not sure the Labour government will accept something like this, is to put the threshold in 1 million. See what will happen if you can do business in the UK and you have the threshold, the flexibility from 85k to 1 million. That will bring a lot of people back to the UK. They can use the banking system. They can, even if they're not living there, they will have this is will be the income instant boost to the British economy. But I'm not sure they will do this.
Yeah,
This is a very hard thing.
and
But
more.
I've seen it in other countries. I mean, if you compare to the tax system in Singapore, you can do business, you can incorporate your business, and you're not being taxed until you make 1 million Singaporean dollars. So the idea is that the old mentality of government that we have to tax everyone, this will not work in the new age.
That's right. That's
Governments
right.
have to think beyond the short term. They have to think long term. There is a war now against the remote working and the digital nomads, but the new generation have all the tools they need to work online.
And
they
and
don't
also the
they don't need
mindset.
the UK anymore.
Yeah, also the mindset. They don't like being stuck in a place. Basically, the best country will win that offers the best incentives. It's a global
That's
world.
right.
Like we literally just entered the most global era of our time, I believe, and it's gonna
That's
get
right. I mean,
more
I mean,
push.
I've been doing this for almost 20 years. I look to, I mean, you can be a very British proud citizen. I love the UK. I love the British lifestyle, but I don't want to pay taxes because I have a lot of options. As myself, it's a weird mentality, but I look to countries not as nations. I look to countries as apps. If I have two apps, if I have Uber or Bolt, or I mean, which one will give me a better rate? I look to the UK with the US. US will give me a better rate, so I'll go with Bolt. I don't have to. I don't. I mean, there's no. If I go to country, I didn't find Uber and find Bolt, or the other way around. That's how country. I look to countries at that what kind of benefits or how can pay less taxes legally in different countries. That's the new mentality of the generations. People could be proud of the country, but they will look for other ways to pay less taxes. And this is have been done by the multi mega billionaires for years now. And this knowledge has been implemented, and many people are doing. That's
Correct.
why
So
the British government is losing. That's why the article you discuss, they're losing a lot of people are moving the business, not just moving their
they're
individuals
themselves. Yeah.
as themselves. They relocating their businesses to other places, which is more easy. And if you try to do business now in the UK, it's more restrictive. Bank accounts asking for a lot of documents just to do normal business. The HMRC will ask you X, Y, and that. It was much more easier 10 years ago or even 20 years ago. So why they doing this? I mean, it's much better to have an open door policy and try. I'm talking about people who are living in the UK. Think about people who would like to, or individuals and entrepreneurs who would like to come to the UK to start the business. Still, till there, 2025, there's a lot of UK is attracting a lot of, especially online entrepreneurs who would like to do business in the UK, and they don't have the same opportunity in the US.
And more, let's pause a bit and say that it's still
Yes,
very easy to incorporate in the
yes,
UK a limited
yes.
company. The bureaucracy is still low, so there are still a lot of advantages at the moment for having a UK company. Still one of the
But
best places in the world, but
but it's once you start dealing with government agencies, especially via HMRC, it's not very easy. You you and me used to live in the UK. We understand the rules and regulation, everything. Someone coming from a different country, he doesn't understand the legal aspects of running a UK based business, and then he start getting letters from X and Y and Z. I mean, if you have been following the company's house, they change everything. You have to register a company, you need to verify yourself, you need to have an email, you need to pay a certain fees each year. It's almost £40 to keep the company registered, even if you're doing nothing.
mhm.
That's good. That's good steps. But when it's going to collecting taxes, the threshold is very low. It's very low. You need to make the threshold up so you can bring back the British people who left for other countries, and at the same time make a lot of incentives for international entrepreneurs who would like to operate business in the UK. They don't have to leave. Actually, they don't have to apply for visas or start on living in the UK, but they can do everything remotely.
Yeah,
That's the
and
idea behind it.
and Mo, let me ask you. So I've seen. So the article mentions that a lot of Britons are going to places like Bali, Thailand. What else? Lisbon, so Portugal. I did meet a lot of people in south of Portugal living a good lifestyle and working for UK companies. Invoicing in pounds or euros or whatever. So if you look back at your clients and the recent consulting you're doing, what are the best destinations or like the most requested destinations for Britons who want to relocate and or open companies abroad?
I mean, the most famous destination we've discussed it before is Dubai. Whenever I have a meeting with any of my clients, or even people who just ask me in different social media, and they say I would like to set up in Dubai. I mean, the first thing I say, Dubai is not for everyone. It's not cheap. It's not straightforward. it's a very good base for of a lot of entrepreneurs, but you need to have a certain wealth in order to enjoy the benefits
So I
of
believe
Dubai.
it's for established entrepreneurs. That's
For
something.
you can say medium to high established entrepreneurs. It's not for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
but it's like, and there's a misconception about, I would like, I will say the question as someone is asking. I would like to move to Portugal, so I will be living there, and I would like to operate my business from Portugal. When I answer them, I say you can move to Portugal, but you don't have to do business in Portugal. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
doing
this is
business in
globally.
Portugal is not easy.
Yeah, it's
It's
a
a more
bureaucratic
complicated
country.
process.
It's good to live
That's right.
there, but it's a different thing. Yeah.
It's amazing country, but everything is done slowly. Okay, it's one of the best places in the world to live as whatever, as the citizen or remote worker, or but it's one of the not the best places to operate a business. When people think that I will leave to, for example, you can go to Dubai, but you don't have to do business in Dubai. The idea that you have to live in the country, it's like they try to replicate what they have been doing in the UK in other countries. They think that I'm British, I live in the UK, I operate my business in the UK, so I would like to take up the same setup I have in the UK and move it to another country. The simple thing that you need to do is that move somewhere else, and do business in, for example, move to Portugal and start a business in the US. That's the best thing to do. Don't have to mix between starting the business and living in the country,
Yeah,
because
it's very important to separate between your physical residency, fiscal residency, and your the place where your business is registered, because
that's
they're
right.
all completely different, right?
That's right. That's one of the things. I mean, and I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs, especially when they don't have the experience, when they go into places like Bali. Indonesia is a very amazing country. It's one of the best places to live in Asia. It's a very low cost, very friendly places. The prices are still, you can affordable, but
Still, yeah.
is still, and there's a lot of residence options. You don't have to use the visa run issue. You can get residency, you can buy properties, you can do a lot, especially in Bali. But try to operate any business in the country, unless you will do business locally. It's not an easy stuff. You need to do with another culture, another language, another barriers. I know the legal things and set up everything it's not that expensive, but at the end of the day, don't go for something that you will regret a couple of years ago. Always plan at least 1 year, and then 5 years and 10 years. Don't just find something, because this is mistake happen all. I find an ad online say that I will set up my business in Asia, for example, in Thailand, or in Indonesia or Bali, and it will cost me just a couple of grands, and everything would be fine. No, don't set up a business in a place uh, unless you are sure 100% that you will continue you understanding the rules. If you don't understanding the rules and regulation in this country, have someone to help you, have someone local to help you. That's the idea. Set up
Indeed.
being yourself in the country is totally different setup a business.
And more, one interesting thing I want to mention, and which I think kind of contributes to all this exodus of people in the UK, is that you've got the digital nomad visas, which are getting more and more sophisticated. So, for example, Thailand has the destination Thailand visa, also called the DTV, which is a 5-year visa, and you need a remote working contract, which for some people it's easy to get because that's what they do, and also gives you access to Thailand for 5 years, and you can live 6 months at a time. So that one if you compound the visa, and the Philippines is also releasing a visa now, and Malta has a visa, and Cyprus, and so on. If you put that together with the high cost of living in the UK, the ramping inflation which is still going on, it's kind of a no-brainer that people want to work from there, and register a company somewhere else, but definitely don't live in the UK. Hence the UK is losing a lot because of this. But it does make sense from a personal perspective, because you want to have a good life. Salaries haven't gone up in the UK in the last few years a lot. I mean, compared to inflation, they're probably they're negative, the increase. So the option is to have a remote job, maybe, which is less paid, or become a freelancer and then just move abroad and just connect to London or other places in the UK from time to time. Still a good place for networking, still a good place to meet international people. However, yeah, there is still a problem with the cost of living, which is true. And I'm not surprised, the people are leaving and trying to live somewhere else
That's
without
the thing.
visa.
I mean, I have a lot of friends or still living in London. I mean, even they don't have a mortgage, they own their properties upright. But the only thing is that some of them calculate how much they are paying only for council tax and electricity bill and
Transport,
other bills, and
trains.
they say I can live in other places with the same price just of the bills. So if they just shut the home and they go somewhere else for a couple of months, especially in the winter, they will be able to survive. So that's a new reality that was not available before.
It's true,
I
and
mean,
also especially for young people, it's going to be
yes,
extremely hard to afford the place to live. So if they will have to find ways to live somehow else. Definitely, it's going to be very hard to get a mortgage in your 30s for the next generation because of inflation. So then the question is, well, what do you do? Like you've got these visas open now, you've got remote work. I think the answer is easy for some people. Some people probably will want to stay for different reasons. Fair
yes.
enough.
It's
Yeah.
and one of the things I would like to add that when you leave the UK, like many people have done, they think that once they exit the airport, they will be not a tax resident anymore. That's one of the misconceptions that people understand. That if the HMRC would like to ask me for anything, they say, sorry, I'm not living there anymore. I mean, HMRC doesn't understand. Sorry, you have to provide, not just provide documents. There's a lot of forms and a lot of steps you have to do to prove that you are not non-resident. Last week, I have a very interesting meeting with a very high net worth individuals, and he tell me he still invested in his ISA, which is only for UK tax resident. Even he left the UK for the last 10 years, and he need to prove that he doesn't have any, you can say, roots with the UK. I'll tell them, you, I mean, you've messed up the whole story. You're not living in the UK anymore. You sell all your properties, but you still have your ISA, and you invest money in them. ISA is only for the people who are resident in the UK. You are making yourself a very worse situation with a very simple thing. I mean, you don't have to close the ISA, but you don't have to invest money once you leave the country. You're just a non-resident. There is a lot of things, and the second question is that I would like to still be a non-resident. Can I get a mortgage? Yes, you can get a mortgage. The only difference between the mortgage for non-resident and resident is the non-resident is still a little bit risky. Even you are British, they will consider you a non-resident, but you have to pay a little bit more on the interest rate. But if you calculate how much the difference between the resident mortgage and the non-resident mortgage, with how much you are saving in tax, could be up to 50%.
Correct.
You will be better off in any way. That's the thing, because they say I would like to stay a UK resident because I will lose access to the GP. No one accesses GP anymore. It's I mean, so it's like there's a lot of people who lived for the UK for ages now, and they pay for private healthcare. The society have changed. There used to be free resources that you get, being, you can say, the perks or benefits. It's not there anymore. So why you still hook yourself to a place and you charge yourself a lot? And it's not just about the UK, it's about any high tax-paying country. I have a lot of clients from Sweden, from Norway, from Denmark, and they have the highest tax rate
Correct.
in the entire world. And if they just even moved from Denmark or Sweden to, they don't have to move outside the EU, but if you can move to Portugal, other places, they will save a lot of money, especially if they're making tons of money online. They don't have to stick in one place. That's the idea. That's why governments try to make it hard for people to leave the countries, but they don't understand that they are dealing with a new generation. They don't have I mean, the new generation doesn't care anymore. I mean, I just use the
It's all
benefit.
about
That's
flexibility. It's all about low
yes,
liability and
that's the thing.
minimalism, I believe. Yeah, yeah.
That's the idea.
They're extremely flexible. They have to be. They have to be at the moment.
yeah, and by the way, there's a lot of other countries understand this, and they make a lot of programs to attract. It's not just, by the way, the digital nomad visas. Other countries trying to attract as you can say, the upper class of the digital nomad who
So
invest.
let's talk about that more, because there was, again, there was another interesting news, I think, in the same newspaper in CTM, saying that a lot of billionaires and millionaires have left the UK. So let's talk about that. You know, it's a different, definitely a different market, and different people with different levels of income. But how about that? So where do those people live, and why do you think they live? Is still because of high tax, or just for the lifestyle? What's your experience with that?
The reason for the you can, they call them the centimillionaires, who anyone who is making then couple of millions of income per year. The reason for these people are leaving because of the changing in the non-dom tax status. I mean, the difference between, I'll make it very simple to understand between the dom and the non-dom, because it's domiciled or non-domiciled, and the HMRC rules are very complicated to explain. But it's very simple. If you used to live in the UK, you have two options for long term. You can say, I'm non-domiciled in the UK because I have another home. And one of the most famous individuals we can mention is the wife of Rishi Sunak, the last British
Yes.
prime minister for the UK. She's Indian national. She is not British, but she was lived in the UK for a lot of time with Rishi. That's and she is not a domiciled as taxes for the UK. She still have the Indian citizenship. She still have a home in India, on other countries, definitely, but she is not obliged to pay all worldwide income in the UK. This is rule have been changed by the Labour government. The Labour government can say, sorry, we have to treat everyone the same. There is no non-dom status. This is a, you can say, a tax loophole, and they close it.
And is that in effect, or it's already closed?
No, it's closed. The rules have been implemented, but it will be implemented next month. We are today in March. It will be fully
From the
implemented
new
in
fiscal
April.
year in the UK, which is
Yes,
in
in the
April.
next
Yeah.
tax year, which is April, the next month. Anyone who still, there will no be difference between non-dom and dom domicile. Everyone have to pay the worldwide income in the UK, as long as the UK tax rates. That's why a lot of individuals or high net, even ultra high net worth individuals left the UK.
They had to make
I,
the choice. They
I
had to.
have a lot of families roots in different countries, especially the Gulf, United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia, and Oman, and Qatar, and Bahrain. And they used to have a properties, they used to have a bank accounts, they used have a lot of investment and wealth in the UK. They keep the wealth in the UK because they know it's safe, it will not be taxed, and the UK will not do anything wrong with that. Now, when they see the Labour government, unfortunately, most of this wealth is went up to another countries. Some of them go back to the Middle East, to GCC. Some of them go to the US. I mean, they bark, they can say they leave their wealth in other country for many reasons. They don't have to do anything about it. Now they are afraid they take the wealth off.
Yeah. So just to give some numbers to that, we're talking about almost 11,000 millionaires. That's a 157% increase on 2023. That's really huge.
That's
And
what that's what the, you can say, the government statistics tell you. I think the number will be at least 5 or 10 this number, because there's, I know personally, a lot of millionaires who left the UK. They take the wealth, but they didn't tell the HMRC. They extremely afraid to tell, to communicate with any government agencies, because they don't understand this. They say you have to be taxed in a country which are a non-resident of.
yeah,
It's this is too much for them, so they take the wealth off. So actually, the real number is much more complicated. And I will tell you, next summer, especially this summer in 2025, there's a lot of, you can say, high-end properties in London that will remain closed because of this. Uh, Wealthy individuals will not spend the summer again in the UK.
very interesting. So this to the 2025 will be very interesting in the UK from a lot of perspectives, especially from a consumption perspective, because these people were living there for some time, accessing wealthy products, or buying wealthy services, and it's definitely gonna affect the market there, I believe. Yeah.
A couple of years ago, if you remember, anyone who is non-resident, if they buy any products from the UK, they can go to the something called VAT reclaim. If they are traveling outside the airport, they can give them the expenses or the invoices they have, and they claim 20% off any they paid. Now they closed this a couple of years ago. I don't know why. So if you, I mean, if you see what kind of rules is flexibilities that you give to luxurious travelers or wealthy individuals who would like to enjoy the UK, especially in the summer, now there's no VAT. You have to pay tax. It's not safe anymore. So why is still coming back to you? Why spend some of the hotels, and especially in Mayfair and Central London, it could be a couple of thousand per month. Sorry, per per night.
Per night.
And I mean, it used to be the center of wealth in the world. Now people are not interested to go anymore. There is a lot of hot spots that available in many other countries, more safe, more cheap, easy to use. They will enjoy it, more privacy now.
Mo,
uh,
do you think that there will be a place in when it's going to be quite late where the government is going to realize we have to deregulate now? We have to go back to deregulation just to attract back the people. Any
uh,
chance of that?
I think it will take a couple of years because, it's like government. You can say economists is like personal individuals. If you done a mistake in your personal life, you will not see the effect. Sometimes it takes 2 to 3 years to see the real effect. So what they are trying to do right now is already closing a lot of doors on wealthy individuals who used to use the UK as their own, you can say, pleasure hub, or just traveling there, enjoying the summer.
And it's
Uh,
also going to affect the brand of the
the
country
economy,
because yeah,
yes, yes. I
the
mean,
brand itself.
I will tell you. I have a lot of friends in Saudi Arabia. They when they travel to the UK, they take all their families. They rent a lot of rooms. They use the taxes. They use the shops. They spend a lot of money. Some of them spend hundreds and hundreds of thousand of sterling pound just staying for a couple of weeks. Now say sorry, I will not go there anywhere. And one of the h- number one destination, especially for people from the Middle East, they say I would like to go to Turkey. It's like it's much better. Even Albania, even the people now tend to go to the place, especially in Europe, which is not very well known. There's a lot of
Like
uh,
Montenegro, Albania.
yes,
That's
yes,
right. Yeah.
Montenegro. That's
Yeah.
I mean, Montenegro is attracting a lot of wealthy individuals from all over the world because it's much more relaxed. It's safe. It's still more affordable. The people will be enjoying themselves if you compare it to London. So that's the thing. So I think the British government is in a very bad situation, and it will get worse until it gets better. But they will not be able to understand the kind of things they are doing now, and just trying to tax people more will not solve the problem. I mean, when it's like, I mean, this is have been this is they're repeating the same mistakes. It's been done in the 1970s in many countries, especially the UK. Margaret Thatcher, when it's come to the UK, they flip the economy, low tax, more investment, more ownership. Now we have the other way around. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's very funny. Like, I think the East is actually coming back really strong. Like, from everything from the innovation in China to the I don't know, like maybe Singapore and the other places which are basically banking on people moving in there and living there. So yeah, so let me ask you, if someone would want, let's say Britain would want to start from scratch, open up a company, just open their own business, without being really wealthy, where would they start, and what kind of choice would they have for destination as a opening a company and setting up the residency?
I mean, you have to differentiate between the residency and the company.
Yeah.
If you have a couple of grants you would like to start, my one of the best advice I go now is Singapore. Setting, I mean, there's the number of companies that set up at the Singaporean who is not resident. Uh, it's by thousand. You
Hmm.
can get the company up and running, have a bank account, all the documents ready in a couple of days.
So do you have to be there in person
No,
first of all?
no,
No.
no,
Okay.
no.
And
The
how
only
much
the
is how
only
much is the corporate tax?
it's you can pay up to zero unless you reach 1 million Singaporean dollars.
Hmm. Okay,
Okay,
that's a good deal. Yeah.
that's the thing. The VAT also, there's no VAT and the threshold. I don't have the numbers in my mind, but Singapore is a very good destination if you are doing a remote work and you would like to keep traveling. and you don't need to be resident in the country.
Do you need a specific threshold to invest in the capital fund of the company, like a
No,
minimum
no,
required?
no. The only you can say drawback in operating a business in Singapore, that you need to have a local director. You need to pay someone a month yearly fees. He need to be a local director, but it's a part of the business they have. The this local director need to um, they ask for a couple of more documents for KYC.
Yeah.
That's a standard thing, but it's not like other countries like the US LLC where you can operate it. There's no director needed, but in Singapore you need to have a local director who he will have a fees on a yearly basis.
And more, I know, like last year or 2 years ago, you were recommending the ink companies in the US. Did something change? I know there were some changes to Wyoming or some other states, but would you still recommend for people who want to start or set up an online business to incorporate in the US? Some I know they have some high tax for maintaining the company. Some of them. So what would you say? How would you compare Singapore to that? Like Wyoming, Delaware, so on and so forth.
I mean, the difference now, I've seen that there's a big issue now for if you would like to operate a business in the US, especially for non-resident. They are not accepting addresses from virtual mail addresses. You need to have something called actual lease agreement. If you don't know someone there to operate in your behalf, his name doesn't have to be in the paper, but you need to have an real address, not a PO box. That's
So
the thing.
that did that change from last year?
That changed last year. And that's why there is a many bank accounts, or they're asking for documents to prove that this address is not actual an address and
Mhm.
it's not a rented PO box.
Yeah, because that's how I think that's the old model from a few years ago, where
Yes,
people would just open a virtual address and then register for the company. So that doesn't
virtual
work anymore.
address is not working anymore in the not just the US, even the UK. Many other countries are not accepting virtual addresses, and there is a legal way around it. You can find anyone who actually, for example, living in the US, and he can provide you with a sub tenancy agreement under his own lease agreement,
Yeah, so they
and you
have to
can
take
use this
take take you
agreement.
in their space, basically. Yes.
Yes, you are renting from someone is renting as a subletting, and you use this official document to communicate and prove that you have an address in the US or any
Yeah.
other country. This is could be done in the UK, in the US, and many other countries. But now it's if you're going straight and you don't know anyone, um, if you don't know anyone who can help you with this, we help a lot of our customers. But the only thing is that it's more cost involved. If you're thinking that I'll go to the US, it will cost just couple of hundreds. No, it's getting more expensive because of the regulatory side. Dealing with banks and officials, it's costing more. Uh, and this is a little bit drawback, but that's one of the things I always tell. There is no one best ever country in the world.
Because
There
things
and
change all the time.
it not just change all the time. The rules keep changing, and you need to know the rules. If you say I started the company a couple of years ago and everything will stay the same forever, no. Even in the UK. I mean, now to start the company, the company's house in the UK is doing KYC verification of all the new directors. If you don't have a previous director name in the company's house, which is the government agency that register the company, they will not accept you, and they will ask you a lot of documents. Whatever you are, resident or non-resident, that's the thing. So governments are trying to collect more information. They try to know who are operating the companies, and if you don't have the kind of legal experience and expertise that's helping you, that's why a lot of online platforms will lead to nothing. That I know a lot of friends who go there and register the US LLC or UK limited companies, register the company, but they don't know how to operate it. I mean, this knowledge takes times and experience uh, to get it, and that's why you can easier hire someone like myself or yourself, or you learn it. It will not it's not a very hard thing
Especially in
to
the UK,
learn.
I don't think it's that complicated in the UK. I don't know about the
It's not that
US.
complicated, but one of the things I was thinking is that there's there's a lot of new entrepreneurs who ask the same question over and over again, and I'm thinking to put a lot of courses, especially on how to operate a company in the UK, how to understand the VAT regulations, how to, for example, form not just a limited company, an LLP company, what's the difference between LLP and US, what's the difference between different residencies. That's a lot of questions that you need hands-on experience to understand and give this information to someone else. So I'm thinking about set up a lot of courses about this. We
So
can
Mo,
we
how
can
do you? Let's talk a bit about about your services. So how can you help people change their residency, and what kind of, yeah, being more tax efficient? What kind of services do you provide? Let us know.
I mean, we help entrepreneurs and investors who would like to reduce their taxes, whatever they are applying for a second residency, getting a new passport, or opening company in different company. The only thing that I do now, I'm only accepting anyone who at least he is paying. I mean, my fees are starting now from 25K as a yearly commitment. Okay, that's including the company setup. That's including the fees. You will not. I mean, the minimum.
Is that the accountant as well, Mo?
Everything, everything,
Mhm.
everything, and this is including the US, including Dubai, Paraguay, Singapore, Mauritius. This is a new thing that you pay one flat fee for everything. I'm not just including my advice. That includes because I have a team working with me in different locations. So instead of you going to 3 or 4 companies to get your services, you will get it from one thing. But in the
That's
same time, I'm creating a more lower tier starting from 5K for who are people who are more experienced and they would like to learn themselves, but they need a couple of tools. They need a lot of courses. They need a lot of guidelines. They don't need to one-on-one advice, but they need more general advice how to set up and how to. That will start from
and
5K. I'm
that
still
will
working with
be
this.
they will do it themselves. For
Yes.
the Okay.
Or there's one thing. For example, if you would like to set up a US LLC, and instead of you do it yourself, we will recommend, for example, XY company. They will do it for you. We'll provide you with a discount, including in the 5K, and then we will help you in the process. That's the thing. Because the service provider who are doing this, they provide you with a very cheap price, but they didn't provide any support.
Yeah, that's true.
They say you have to go for a CPA, and CPA is costing at least $1,000 uh, an hour,
An
which it
hour.
doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, that's true. Cool, Mo. So we're looking forward to hear more about your course, and let us know if when you release that. I think it's
Yes,
a
I will
good
do.
offering, especially because there's so many options right now with Paraguay, with Dubai, as you're saying. Is there any news from Saudi Arabia? I know they were preparing some kind of digital nomad visa or some kind of tax facilities there.
I mean, they try to attract more. You can say on the sports side, they making more easy to start a business or operate a business there because in a couple of years now they have the World Cup in 2034, which
Correct.
is a very interesting thing. So people are trying to gain an access to the country where there's a lot of investment happen. But one of the things, I mean, during the last couple of weeks, there's 2 African nations, Ghana and Sierra Leone. They start offering their citizenship starting from 100K, which is, I mean, that's one of the things that more countries are offering. Even there's a lot of news about Georgia.
Hmm.
I didn't inspect this. I just need to focus on it and get you the right information. But now there is a lot of countries that offering the citizenship around 100K, and this is trend will still moving. They still know people are applied or get the passports, but there, I mean, countries say this is a way to attract individuals, and they pay into the country and they get a citizenship.
Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's not a new model, but it's definitely something that's upcoming now. We've never seen that for countries in Africa. I mean,
That's right.
not at this level. So it's good to know. Maybe we can do another show about that. Maybe we can do another show more about the passports in Africa, the residencies and passports that you can obtain from Africa, because I don't think it's a wide subject. Everyone is covering Paraguay, uh, like the US and other things, but not so much Africa.
I
So.
mean, what's happening in Paraguay now? There is the number of people who are moving actually to Paraguay is increasing by, you can say, tenfold. It's like it's getting, and this is happening in many places. The rules, my prediction that they will start changing the rules and make it much more complicated because, I mean, people were fed up, especially local peoples were fed up. Everyone is taking more places. The rental will go up, and it's the same story
The
that's
same
happening.
story.
At the same
Yeah.
story. That's why it's much better not to invest long term in a place unless you are going there extremely early.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Mo, thanks a lot. It's been a pleasure. I think we shared again a lot of good information.
Definitely.
Yeah, hopefully people will see this and they will start thinking about what the other options they have if they don't want to live in the UK. I think a lot of people are already thinking about that. So if people want to get in touch, feel free. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, the websites, we're all there. And yeah, thanks a lot. And anything in the end, Mo? So any other trends you see when it comes to I don't know, remote working or residencies past? Is there any new hot thing on the block right now?
There's a lot of changes happening right now, especially in high tax countries in France and other countries. Netherlands, they try to implement the exit tax. We can discuss this in the coming shows. How
Yeah,
to be ready with the exit tax. It is something that could be, it's not for everyone, but you can save a lot of money if you see that there's a change in the law and you can exit before the exit tax happen.
correct. Yeah, it is something that has been mentioned. Yeah, in France and Netherlands, that's true. So I haven't heard about that lately, but probably the governments are working on it. However, you should be ready, especially if people who want to do an exit.
Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Thanks a lot, Mo. Till next time. Thanks for all the information and see you soon. Take care.
It's my pleasure. And always stay global, my friends.
Bye.
Bye bye. Just a second, we're stopping. Yes. Just wait until it's 100%.
Yeah. I've got good internet connection now, so no
Okay,
problem.
good, good. I have
Awesome,
no
man.
one.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Really good stuff.
Okay, that's amazing. Can you make sure it's have been